Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayesha Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtike. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirviseshasha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9. We are on text 6. Sachintayan devi aksharam ekadambhasi upashanodvirgaditam vacho vibhuhu Sparsheshu yachodasham ekavimsham niskinchananam nripa yadhanam viduhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thus, while engaged in thinking in the water, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby 2 syllables joined together. One of the syllables was taken from the 16th and the other from the 21st of the Sparsha alphabets, and both joined to become the wealth of the renounced order of life. So when Brahmaji was created and it was all dark, he didn't know what to do. So he was thinking, now, what shall I do? What shall I do? And then he heard this sound, tapa. In Sanskrit language, the consonant alphabets are divided into 2 divisions, namely the Sparsha Varnas and the Talavya Varnas. From Ka to Ma, the letters are known as the Sparsha Varnas, and the 16th of the group is called Ta, whereas the 21st letter is called Pa. So when they are joined together, the word Tapa or penance is constructed. This penance is the beauty and wealth of the Brahmanas and the renounced order of life. According to Bhagavad philosophy, every human being is meant simply for this tapa and for no other business. Because by penance only can one realize his self, and self-realization, not sense gratification, is the business of human life. So right now we can see in the modern society, we are in fact taught, oh, enjoy your senses to the fullest. Enjoy how much ever you can. There is no next life. But that is totally against what is supposed to be the duty in our human life. Human life is supposed to be for tapa, for penance. But now in Kali Yuga, we are so far away from the proper goal of life. We just make up our own theories, own philosophies. Actually, it is meant for penance. This tapa or penance was begun from the very beginning of the creation, and it was first adopted by the supreme spiritual master, Lord Brahma. By tapasya only can one get the profit of human life, and not by a polished civilization of human life, of animal life. Why is it called polished civilization of animal life? Because animals also eat, drink, sleep, and mate, defend. But now we human beings also only want to restrict our activities to do these things, but we want to eat in 5-star hotels or plates made of gold and silver. The animals are eating on the road, so we want to eat in a more posh way, on our tables with our cutlery. And then animals are also mating. The only thing they're mating is out on the road, and then we are doing it in our houses. And sleeping, animals sleep on the stone, under the tree or whatever. They don't have a soft bed. We have comfortable soft beds to sleep on. And defend. Animals use their own physical strength. We are preparing so many weapons to defend ourselves. So that's why it's being called polished animal civilization, because we are doing exactly what the animals are doing, just in a polished manner. But that's not the goal of human life. That's not the purpose we are given this human body. The purpose of human body is given to us for self-realization, which we can easily get by engaging in penance. And the penance for this age of Kali is the process of Krishna consciousness, hearing and chanting about Krishna, refraining from the 4 illicit activities. The animal does not know anything except sense gratification in the jurisdiction of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. But the human being is made to undergo tapasya for going back to Godhead, back home. When Lord Brahma was perplexed about how to construct the material manifestations in the universe and went down within the water to find out the means and the source of his lotus seat, he heard the word tapa vibrated twice. Taking the path of this tapa is the second birth of the desiring disciple. So Lord Brahma, he was sitting on the lotus, but he didn't know what to do. So he went deep inside the water looking. He went actually inside the stem of the lotus because he wanted to know what's his cause, who is the cause of his creation, who's the cause of his birth. He wanted to see. The word upashanot is very significant. It is similar to upanayana, or bringing the disciple nearer to the spiritual master for the path of tapa. So Brahmaji was thus initiated by Lord Krishna, and this fact is corroborated by Brahmaji himself in his book, the Brahma Samhita. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma has sung in every verse, Govindam Adipurusham Tam Aham Bhajami. Thus, Brahma was initiated by the Krishna mantra, by Lord Krishna himself, and thus he became a Vaishnava, or a devotee of the Lord, before he was able to construct the huge universe. So here the importance of initiation is being mentioned, that Brahmaji also, before he could do his duty of creating the universe, he accepted the instruction of Krishna. He was initiated by Krishna. He underwent the austerities that were needed, the devotional service which was needed, and then he is able to create. So we are also encouraged to get initiated by a proper bona fide spiritual master coming in the parampara system, so we can also attain the highest goal of life. It is stated in the Brahma Samhita that Lord Brahma was initiated into the 18-letter Krishna mantra, which is generally accepted by all the devotees of Lord Krishna. We follow the same principle because we belong to the Brahma Sampradaya, directly in the disciplic chain from Brahma to Narad, from Narad to Vyas, from Vyas to Madhva Muni, from Madhva Muni to Madhavendra Puri, from Madhavendra Puri to Ishvara Puri, and from Ishvara Puri to Lord Caitanya, and gradually to His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, our Divine Master. So here the chain of disciplic succession is giving. Our line starts from Brahma, from Lord Brahma himself. So Krishna instructed to Brahmaji, and then Brahma to Narad Muni, Narad to Vyasadev, Vyasadev to Madhvacharya, Madhvacharya to Madhavendra Puri, Madhavendra Puri to Ishvara Puri. Srila Prabhupada has also given this disciplic succession in the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita. And this is how the knowledge was coming to Srila Prabhupada, and we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada. So one who is thus initiated in the disciplic succession is able to achieve the same result or power of creation. Chanting of this holy mantra is the only shelter of the desireless, pure devotee of the Lord. Simply by such tapasya or penance, the devotee of the Lord achieves all perfections like Lord Brahma. So we simply have to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. That is what's recommended for us in this age to get the perfection of human life. Any comments or questions?
What is it? 18-letter Krishna mantra?
Yeah. So I'm not sure this was the mantra which was given to Lord Brahma, because we are chanting the 16-letter.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We are chanting the 16-letter mantra which is given to us for this age of Kali. Now Brahmaji was at the beginning of creation, you know, before. And so we can see that each time, based on the time, the process of self-realization is a bit different.
Okay, because I know like it started with Hare Ram, right? Ram, Ram, Hare, Hare. And then it was changed when Lord Chaitanya came.
Lord
And he
Chaitanya came
changed.
and gave us.
Yeah, right?
And then, because for example, Narad Muni, the mantra he gave to Dhruva Maharaj was Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Yes. Okay.
So that was the mantra for that age. You know, so for Kali Yuga, our age, for Kali Yuga, it's the Hare Krishna mantra.
Right.
Yeah. So reading on text 7, Nishamya tadviktrididikshaya disho vilokya tatranayad upashyamanaha swadeshnyam asthaya vimshraya tadhitam tapasi upadishta ivadade manaha. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone beside himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed. To achieve success in life, one should follow the example of Lord Brahma, the first living creature in the beginning of creation. After being initiated by the Supreme Lord to execute tapasya, he was fixed in his determination to do it. And although he could not find anyone besides himself, he could rightly understand that the sound was transmitted by the Lord himself. So this was his instruction. Brahmaji, his instruction was that you do penance, you do tapasya. So he's trying to find somebody, but he couldn't find who spoke it. But he knew it is spoken by the Lord himself. He knew that this tapa word, it was spoken by the Lord. And so then he said, okay, I've gotten the instruction. So this is the meaning of initiation, means he's gotten the instruction and he's determined now. Now I've gotten the instruction and I have to execute the instruction. And that is what is initiation. We get the instruction and then we are determined to follow the instruction. Brahma was the only living being at that time because there was no other creation and none could be found there except himself. In the beginning of the first canto, in the first chapter, first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it has already been mentioned that Brahma was initiated by the Lord from within. The Lord is within every living entity as the Supersoul, and He initiated Brahma because Brahma was willing to receive the initiation. The Lord can similarly initiate everyone who is inclined to have it. So we cannot pretend that, okay, we are like Brahma and then I received the initiation from the Lord in my heart. No, that was for Lord Brahma. He could do it because he's so pure. And to set an example for us, Krishna himself took a guru. He took in education from Sandipani Muni. And then when Krishna came himself as Lord Caitanya, he also accepted a guru, Ishwara Puri. So we are seeing that all the devotees, they're teaching us how we should act, not that we can make up anything. Because if we make up anything, it's very dangerous for us. Our minds are very fertile. Our imagination is very good, We can imagine anything, but then that might not be the truth. In fact, it might be something very far away from the truth. So just to protect us, to get us out of here, the fastest, the soonest way, we are advised to follow in the footsteps of the devotees, not to imitate them, but follow them. As already stated, Brahma is the original spiritual master for the universe. And since he was initiated by the Lord himself, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam is coming down by disciplic succession. And in order to receive the real message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. So why should we approach Guru in the chain of disciplic succession? So that we can also be connected to the parampara. We can receive this message. Otherwise, how will we receive it? After being initiated by the proper spiritual master, in that chain of succession, one should engage himself in the discharge of tapasya, in the execution of devotional service. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma to be initiated directly by the Lord from inside, because in the present age, no one can be accepted to be as pure as Brahma. The post of Brahma, to officiate in the creation of the universe, is offered to the most pure living being. And unless one is so qualified, one cannot expect to be treated like Brahmaji directly. So same as we spoke about, we cannot imitate Lord Brahma and say, okay, the Lord initiated me from within. No, we are just fooling our own selves. We have to get initiated from a spiritual master who's coming in the parampara system. But one can have the same facility through unalloyed devotees of the Lord, through scriptural instructions as revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam especially, and also through the bona fide spiritual master available to the sincere soul. The Lord himself appears as the spiritual master to a person who is sincere in heart about serving the Lord. So it depends on our sincerity. If we really want to serve the Lord, we really want to get to know the truth factually, go back to Godhead, Krishna He will send us a bona fide spiritual master. The Lord himself appears as the spiritual master to a person who is sincere in heart about serving the Lord. Therefore, the bona fide spiritual master who happens to meet the sincere devotee should be accepted as the most confidential and beloved representative of the Lord. If a person is posted under the guidance of such a bona fide spiritual master, it may be accepted without any doubt that the desiring person has achieved the grace of the Lord. So when we get in touch with a bona fide spiritual master, that is the mercy of Krishna. It's the mercy of Krishna that he is presenting himself as a spiritual master to us. A bona fide spiritual master who's coming in the parampara system. Not just anybody. so much care is given, so much emphasis is given that the spiritual master should be in the disciplic succession, should be in parampara. It's not for the matter of pride or anything, but it's the matter to guide us properly so that our faith is not misplaced, our faith is not trampled by, and in fact that our faith can grow and grow and actually touch the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Krishna. So it's for that reason. Any questions or comments? If
No.
not, then we can go to the next one. Text 8. Divyam sahasrabdam amoga darshano jitan nilatma vichito bhayendriyaha atapyatasmakhila lokatapanam tapastapiyam staptam samahitaha. Lord Brahma underwent penances for 1,000 years by the calculations of the demigods. He heard this transcendental vibration from the sky and he accepted it as divine. Thus, he controlled his mind and senses, and the penances he executed were a great lesson for the living entities. Thus, he is known as the greatest of all ascetics. Lord Brahma heard the occult sound tapa, but he did not see the person who vibrated the sound. And still he accepted the instruction as beneficial for him. And therefore, he engaged himself in meditation for 1,000 celestial years. Imagine if Brahmaji would have heard the sound tapa and said, oh, why should I do that? I'm just going to sit here or I'm going to go to sleep. Let me see what happens. Then the creation wouldn't have happened. So anyway, he followed the instruction and he meditated for 1,000 celestial years. 1 celestial year is equal to 6 times 30 times 12 times 1,000 of our years. Okay, that's a long time. So this is one celestial year is equal to 6 times 30 times 12 times 1,000 of our years. His acceptance of the sound was due to his pure vision of the absolute nature of the Lord. But because he's so pure, he could understand that this is the Lord's voice. So he accepted it. And due to his correct vision, he made no distinction between the Lord and the Lord's instruction. There is no difference between the Lord and sound vibration coming from him, even though he is not personally present. The best way of understanding is to accept such divine instruction. And Brahma, the prime spiritual master of everyone, is the living example of this process of receiving transcendental knowledge. So Brahmaji could understand that this is Krishna himself, and the sound of Krishna and instruction of Krishna and Krishna himself are non-different. So he followed the instruction properly. And we cannot make up anything. Krishna spoke to me. No, if we ever think like that, we have to confirm it with our spiritual master, a bona fide representative of Krishna. The potency of transcendental sound is never minimized because the vibrator is apparently absent. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or any revealed scripture in the world is never to be accepted as an ordinary, mundane sound without transcendental potency. So Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken all about the Lord and his devotees. And Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord himself. So all these are transcendental sound vibrations. These are not ordinary material sound vibration. That's why when we hear them, our heart feels pacified. Whereas if we hear material sounds, it will create more anxiety, more fear, more envy, more pride in our heart. One has to receive the transcendental sound from the right source, accept it as a reality, and prosecute the direction without hesitation. The secret of success is to receive the sound from the right source of a bona fide spiritual master. Mundane manufactured sound has no potency, and as such, seemingly transcendental sound received from an unauthorized person also has no potency One should be qualified enough to discern such transcendental potency, and either by discriminating or by fortunate chance, if one is able to receive the transcendental sound from the bona fide spiritual master, his path of liberation is guaranteed. So we should be careful, because there are professional reciters also who like to comment on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, but because they are not coming in the parampara system, means their knowledge is not perfect. So their sound will not have that potency. It will not have the transcendental potency. So we have to hear from a devotee who's coming in the disciplic succession to really receive the transcendental sound. The disciple, however, must be ready to execute the order of the bona fide spiritual master, as Lord Brahma executed the instruction of his spiritual master, the Lord himself. Following the order of the bona fide spiritual master is the only duty of the disciple. And this completely faithful execution of the order of the bona fide spiritual master is the secret of success. So this is Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado, that by pleasing the spiritual master, we get the mercy of the Lord. And if we do not please our spiritual master, then the Lord is not pleased with us. And what is the way to please the spiritual master? Hearing and chanting. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, following the 4 regulative principles. That is what is pleasing to the spiritual master, because he's seeing that we are being connected to Krishna, that we are having a desire to go back home, back to Godhead. Lord Brahma controlled his 2 grades of senses by means of sense perception and sense organs, because he had to engage such senses in the execution of the order of the Lord. So Brahma, he controlled his senses. He controlled his, for example, eyes and the sight. Everything. He controlled his senses and the sense perception, and to engage in penance. Therefore, controlling the senses means engaging them in the transcendental service of the Lord. So how do we control our senses to engage them in the service of the Lord? Is by our tongue, we speak about the glories of Krishna, we chant his holy name, we speak from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. With our eyes, we see the deity of the Lord. With our ears, we hear the transcendental sound vibration, we hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we hear the Hare Krishna mantra, the Kirtan. With our hands, we clean the temple, we prepare foodstuff, bhoga for the Lord. With our nose, we smell the flowers which are offered to the deity. Like that, we can engage our senses. The Lord's order descends in disciplic succession through the bona fide spiritual master. And thus, execution of the order of the bona fide spiritual master is factual control of the senses. Such execution of penance in full faith and sincerity made Brahmaji so powerful that he became the creator of the universe. And because he was able to attain such power, he is called the best amongst all the tapasvis. So Brahmaji got his success because he followed the instruction that was given to him. So that's the reason he's called the best of the tapasvis.
What is the first line means that Lord Brahma controlled his 2 grades of senses?
By means of sense perception and sense organs. So he controlled his sense organs and the perception of the senses. So for example, the eyes, the sense object is to see, right? And the nose is a sense, and the sense object is to smell. Smell is the sense object. So he controlled everything to engage in the service of the Lord.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we stop here?
Yes. Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Shyam ki jai, Govinda ki jai, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for
Hare
joining.
Krishna.